always makes me feel very relaxed. And
Yes.
I played on the first Lion King movie and the second Lion King movie. And they were...
You worked in both, sir?
Yes, I played on both films. And I think I've traveled in almost every state of India. I prefer the South.
Okay.
I'm sorry if North is listening to this, but
I'm glad you like South, sir. If you get a chance, please watch our traditional native music shows too, sir. Like Parai.
Parai?
Yes.
No, I don't. This is something new for me to discover. I've been involved in nearly every part of music making.
So having been worked in a film like Kadaisi Vivasayi, you have also worked in films like Lion King and the Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, I live in London. I've always lived in London, but I've traveled to Hollywood on numerous occasions, sometimes to compose music, sometimes to conduct an orchestra, sometimes to play. On Lion King, for me, it was only playing. And you know, I'm old enough that I played on the first Lion King movie and the second Lion King movie. And they were...
You worked in both, sir?
Yes, I played on both films. I think they were 30 years apart, 1992 and 2022. Yeah, I know, I think 25 years apart, and I played on both movies. But you know, I've never restricted myself just to composing music. You know, I love to play, I love to conduct, I love to orchestrate, arrange, or any part of music. You know, if you look in my passport, it doesn't just say composer, it just says musician. And that's what I want to be. You know, whatever I feel like doing that day, or whatever somebody wants to ask me to do, I will do it with great enjoyment. And what's given me so much pleasure is the idea that this will lead me to do more collaborations in India. You know, I must say that the reason I feel this way is due to my love of India. I don't feel that I'm looking for work. I love India, and I always thought, wouldn't it be fantastic to sort of make some cultural contribution and have some reason for being there other than, you know, just traveling around, looking at all the wonderful things, eating the wonderful food, listening to the wonderful music, watching cricket, having fun, everything you do when you go to India, when you want to cheer up and see the meaning of life again, when you need that feeling. But so for me, I really love the idea of doing more collaborations in India. Bring it on, I say, bring it on.
So I believe you have some inspiration from India.
Totally. I think I've been to India about 25 times, and always for minimum of 2 weeks, sometimes 2 months. And I think I've traveled in almost every state of India. I prefer the South. Okay. I'm sorry if North is listening to this, but
I'm glad you like South, sir.
I absolutely love the South of India because it rains there and there are rivers. Mangoes grow on the trees and they have waterfalls and coconuts and things that people can just pick and eat. You don't get the thing that you occasionally get in the north, where, you know, you're surrounded by desert and how people eat and how people drink is an issue, and yes, it brings some tension, and you can feel that tension sometimes. The South, it doesn't make it any less lovable, but you feel that in the South life is much more relaxed. And I think part of that is because the climate makes for, you know, plenty of very nice food. for everybody, including the fish in the sea, of course. That helps for everybody. But you know, the culture. I love South Indian music. You know, I was listening to the Veena, you know, 25, 30 years ago. That's one of my favorite Indian instruments. So, you know, I just love it. And Sai took me to the theatre in Chennai, where you have the Indian Classical Music Festival every year. I think it's every year, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and I mean, I've never had a chance to come to that festival. And I made a promise, like almost a promise in blood, that I would come and attend this festival for its entire duration before too long.
You mean Indian classical music, sir?
Yeah, Indian classical
music. Yeah, that
music
happens every year.
Yeah, well, I really want to come to one. I've never been, and it's on my list.
If you get a chance, please watch our traditional native music shows too, sir. Like Parai. Have you heard of Parai, sir?
Parai?
Yes.
No, I don't. This is something new for me to discover.
You should definitely discover about it, sir.
Oh, well, I shall ask Sai to tell me all about it.
It's a native instrument, yeah.
All right, okay. Yes, I will definitely do that. I mean, I have a lot of instruments here, which I try to play. I don't play so well, but I have tampura, I have esraj, I have sitar, I have santur. I know these are northern instruments. Mainly, I have a lot of bansuri, and my beautiful swamandal that Sai gave me as a present. So always makes me feel very relaxed when
Yes.
I love the way that you can tune it with these.
So this was gifted by Sai Shravanam, right?
Yeah. Yes, and it's made by a real master maker. You know, you can see these, and they look like they're made from a box that fruit came in. But this one is from mahogany, and it's absolutely beautiful, and it's truthfully one of my most treasured possessions. And I look for opportunities to use it. I know it's mainly a singer's instrument, but if you play the flute, it's also a really lovely thing to have.
Few moments ago, we were talking about Harry Potter and Lion King, the first part and second part. They are more like fictional films, sir. So I want you to explain the transitional process from working for a fictional film to a non-fictional film, because fictional films are their target audience are more of kids. There should be some care in the music production process. So could you please explain about the transitional process from working?
Well, okay, let me just say, I mean, let's be really extreme here. Let's say on one hand, you have Kadaisi Vivasayi, if I've said that correctly. And on the other hand, you would have a film like any of the Harry Potter films or The Lion King. Kadaisi is based on truths. It's a fictional story, but it's a fictional story that appears very, very real, very cinema verite. In a film like this, you can go for 10 minutes in the film with no music. And in a in an adventure movie like a Harry Potter film, I can't even imagine going for 1 minute with no music. In an animated film like The Lion King, music will almost be wall to wall. And the very interesting thing when you're a film composer, you know, you sometimes say to even your friends who maybe you should know better, you say to them, oh, what did you think of the music in the film? And they say, well, we didn't really notice the music. And you say, really? Well, actually, this is fine, because if we're doing our job properly, you shouldn't notice the music. You shouldn't think about it. You should feel it, but you shouldn't engage with it intellectually, because if you start to do that, then you are being distracted from the story. So, I mean, first of all, you know, young people and families all over the world are so accustomed to hearing music with their films. They don't even know they're hearing it. But if they watched the movie with no music, they would say, what's gone wrong? What's happened? This film is empty. We're not being taken on a ride like we normally are. We are having to lean forward to listen and to understand. We don't feel excited anymore. I mean, the music adds so much excitement. It adds sadness, it adds joy, it adds violence and fear. And, you know, you asked how the approach would be different in these two extreme examples. Actually, the approach is completely the same. You may speak to the director or speak to the writer. In the case of this film, the director and the writer are both m.manikandan, so you just speak to him. And you just say, okay, you've made your film now. What more do you want to say that you haven't said already? And you say, well, yeah, this is the job of music. Occasionally, a director makes a film and says, no, I don't think we need any music. And that is so brave. Or it may say, well, there's only 2 places in the film. Maybe we need 5 minutes music maximum in this whole film. And again, that is very, very brave. But you always, especially if you're working to a budget and you don't have all the time in the world, and maybe you have some actors who are not as strong as others, you always feel that something in your film has not worked as well as you would have liked it to have done. So maybe in some areas the film is flagging or sagging slightly. Always, you know, bring us the music and see what we can do just to keep the tension, to keep, you know, the atmosphere right. So I'm not saying that what we do is a repair job, because people expect there to be music in a film, even if the film is as brilliant as it can be before there's even any music on it. I mean, I'm really glad, I'm really happy that music is a completely integral part of filmmaking, because for me, it's one of the most fun ways of making music, because you don't have to think, oh, I'm writing a song, what are the words going to be? You don't have to think, oh, I'm writing a symphony. What is it about? What shape is it going to have? Because the film gives you your shape. It gives you your direction. It gives you your meaning. So all you have to do is complete this jigsaw or finish the painting, you know, with the final brush strokes. That means you can write a lot of music very quickly, because you know where you're going. You know where you're starting, and you know where you want to end up. And always you have your music played by really fine musicians and recorded really well. So you get all the joy of music making. But, you know, one week you can be scoring a thriller movie, and next week you're scoring a really fun kids animated film. And so you just get so much variety in your life, and you get to meet musicians coming in and going out the door every week. I mean, it's really a perfect life. One feels so blessed to be working in this world. You know, I've been a professional musician since I was 17 years old, and I've been involved in nearly every part of music making. And it's just like being on holiday for your entire life.
Great, sir. So let's talk about some Indian films. Your adherence to Indian films. Okay. So how often do you watch Indian films, sir? Oh, well, as often as I can. And it's getting easier now because we have streaming platforms. There's Netflix India. I was actually meeting the very nice folks from the music department of Netflix India, and we're having a nice chat, which is great. And also when I'm on aeroplanes, I get a chance to watch Indian movies. But, you know, the opportunity is getting greater all the time. In recent years, I think the movie that affected me the most, and I thought was as close to being perfect, I don't know the Indian name of the film, but in the West it was called The Lunchbox. Okay, in India also it's called Lunchbox, sir.
Okay,
Irfan Khan's film, right?
yeah. And, you know, my wife is Thai, and she actually loves Indian culture and loves Indian food and loves Indian movies. And, you know, we both sat and watched that film, and we were crying and laughing and said, "Oh, auntie, auntie," and we would call her auntie for a week after watching that film. And to me, that it's small, it doesn't have big song and dance routines, but for me, that was close to being perfection in a movie, any movie anywhere in the world. I didn't see one frame of that film that had one thing wrong with it.
So who will be your favorite actor?
Well, I think it probably was Irfan Khan, because his eyes, I mean, he could tell you the whole story without speaking a word. But I also think that our friend Vijay Sethupathi is pretty special too.
Please watch some Tamil films too, sir.
Oh, yes, I absolutely will. I mean, now we also have, well, we know we all have it. We share it. Well, there's Muji, and there's lots of other places where you can go to watch films. But, you know, the sad thing is when you're working on them all the time, you don't get enough time.
True.
Watch them. And, you know, every year we have our awards in Britain called the BAFTA, the British Academy Awards.
Yeah.
And I'm on not the committee, but I'm a voting member of BAFTA. So around about Christmas time every year, we need to watch about 100 films. And, you know, we catch up. And really, that is the only time we get to see these films and watch them in good quality. And I wish there were more Indian films. That, you know, there's always one or two, but, you know, and quite often they're Anglo-Indian productions, like A Suitable Boy was
Netflix
quite a big thing. And the BBC, they shared that one. But I wish there was more, and I think there will be more. I mean, I think that Kadaisi Vivasayi needs to do the whole festival circuit in the world. If it does, it will win awards, and it should stream everywhere, because the subject matter is so completely universal. I don't know anyone who wouldn't be touched by that story, especially with the sort of the kind of the tragedy of Nalandi passing away just a few months after the film finished shooting. It's quite a story in itself, you know, not just within the film, but the making of the film is a hell of a story.
Even after removing it from the theaters, people wanted to subscribe for Sony Live only for the sake of watching the film, sir.
Really? Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I did too. So I completely understand. And doesn't it look beautiful? I mean, you know, we all, or, you know, many of us are lucky enough to have like an 80-inch screen at home and with a good sound system. And it's great to be able to watch as if you're in the cinema without having to go to the cinema. And of course, if you had to wait to see Kadaisi Vivasayi in a cinema in this country, you'd be waiting a long time, I'm sorry to say. I mean, there may be one or two movie houses in this country that will show the film, but it's not something I've been aware of so far. So thank heavens for Sony. Thank heavens for the streaming services to let us watch these films in good quality, because for many years we were just, you know, you'd buy a VHS tape or rent a VHS tape and the quality would be horrible. I mean, the quality of the visuals would be horrible. The sound of the actors would be horrible, and the music would sound awful. Now everything sounds fantastic and looks fantastic. And that's why it's a wonderful new world.
So is there anything else you want to share with us, sir?
No, just that I'm looking forward to being back in India as soon as possible. Hopefully at the end of this year, I'll be back in Chennai, meeting with the boys, and hopefully it'd be lovely to meet you and everyone on your team. Yes, I mean, we're just trying to get as involved as possible and really looking forward to it.
Same here, sir. We are very
Okay.
much excited to visit you.
Yes, okay, well, you're always welcome. So thank you for the chat today. I've enjoyed it very much. If you haven't been to see Kadaisi Vivasayi, then you're missing out. Thing of beauty.
Beautiful, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much. Very nice talking to you.
Yeah, very nice talking to you too, sir. Thank you so much. It was really a great honor and pleasure to have you here to interview you. So this is my first ever English interview. So this interview personally means a lot to me, sir.
Me too. It's been an honor meeting you and talking to you, Media Rane. I know why you have so many followers now.
Thank you so much, sir.
But I choose to use your nom de plume.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. So see you soon in Chennai, sir. Looking forward to many more projects in Tamil. We are very much excited to have you here, sir.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye.